All right.
Hello.
This is Brian J's Nerd Talk. Hello.
This is Steve Stoltz and Nerd Talk. How you doing? We're doing another collab tonight. Collab.
Yeah,
That's a nice word.
Yeah, we're doing
Collab.
another collaboration again, but I want to talk about Summer Games Fest.
Oh my god!
It was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of.
It was a lot of fun.
Things.
It was good.
I'm gonna tell you, in all honesty, I've never seen such good-looking games before.
But I'll say this about Summer Games Fest: this year was not as good as last year or 2021 because 2021 had the premiere of the Elden Ring trailer, which was huge. That was hotly anticipated, and that trailer reached the hype, and it was a fantastic game. But today was pretty cool. They started off with a bang, talking about Mortal Kombat 1. Man, those fatalities are crazy. There was so much death and so much carnage.
I will be honest.
It was fun.
I will be honest, and I'm already kind of getting the feeling of what I think they're gonna do with Mortal Kombat 1. The writing, the story is sort of right there. If you pay attention to the trailer where Katana's telling Melina, you know, if people find out about this, I'm like, oh, her Heart and Blood is coming back. You know, the game looks phenomenal. The gameplay, it looks more fast paced now. So I'm not sure how to feel about that, but it does look great. Fatalities, the moves, the combos, all of it looks great. The smooth fluidity of the game.
Well, the fast pace was done for like a modern gamers fighting game because back in the 90s it was a very fast paced game for the arcade. It was a fast pace.
Well,
but back then, people's anticipation of what a fast paced game was Sonic the Hedgehog. It wasn't so much with fighting games, but now it's a lot quicker and it's more fluid. The graphics are great, and the fatalities and the blood and the carnage was insane. I loved it.
I too loved it. I'm gonna say this though, when you're saying that back in the 90s it was fast paced, you're kind of forgetting
For the
about
time.
But we're not talking about Mortal Kombat 1 from the arcade. We're talking about how they're resetting the story.
Yeah.
Only because now that they managed to get everything together in one spot, they can actually reset it and do it right.
It was a logical way to go because Mortal Kombat 11 ended with Raiden being the dragon or whatever else, and
you mean Liu Kang?
Yeah, Liu Kang, and he was like the dragon, and it was like it ended in such a way where he could do anything. He could go to a different timeline, a different universe, or restart everything. So that was pretty cool, and I'm enjoying the graphics, and I like that you could like team up with somebody to help you, and you can also there's also a character who could summon a version of himself, so all of a sudden you have like two teammates all of a sudden, and it's really cool. It's very interesting.
It opens the pathway to many abilities. No, it opens the doorway to many abilities. Anyways, I forget the Star Wars reference. I was gonna try to say it. It opens the door to abilities many consider to be
unnatural. Yeah.
There you go. There we go.
Revenge of the Sith moment. That's the best scene in that movie.
That moment where Palpatine is telling Anakin, "Hey, I'm the Dark Lord, and I can do shit you can't do."
Yeah.
And you tell the Jedi, they're gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah, and
but anyways, going back to games.
The Summer Game Fest was a lot of fun.
The thing that because I'm seeing it, I'm gonna call this now, and I'm not trying to be a spoiler. I feel like they're gonna reset the entire series back to one from the original timeline,
but with a lot of changes.
With a lot of changes. Because and I get this, and I'm not saying. Well, maybe I am speaking out of my ass. Maybe I'm speaking out of my head. Maybe I'm in the clouds, the window. I don't know. But the one scene where Katana's telling Melina about her change that she needs to keep hidden, and Melina's now upset with her, saying, "You're trying to take my throne." A little reminiscent about when they introduced Melina to the game.
Yeah, I mean,
and now it wasn't Katana trying to take Melina's throne; it was Melina trying to take Katana's throne.
Yeah,
because she was Shao Kahn's daughter.
I mean, there's so much you could do with the story. There's a lot of places to go. You could retell the first 11 games, or you could just go back to the 90s and tell a lot of those stories.
Yes,
and it's a lot of cool stuff.
They can drag out. Well, I don't want to use the word drag, but they can draw out, which is the first way to say it.
It's a big decade for Mortal Kombat too, because we got the sequel to the Mortal Kombat movie that premiered 2 years ago. So we got those movies coming out.
Oh,
we got games coming out.
You mean the one where Scorpion's great grandson, whatever.
Yeah.
The one where they erase the main characters from the story, and it's like.
Well, the main characters are all supporting characters, and they were focusing on a character that's not in the games at all. But he was a cool character. It was just, he was completely made up for the movie for no reason. They never had to do anything like that. It was so weird. I didn't
understand
dislike the guy.
story. I did not understand the story at all.
I didn't dislike the guy.
There were some changes to characters that were done in the movie that I did not really see any purpose.
And
to.
there was no tournament. That was the problem. It was like it was the pre-tournament tournament. It was a build-up to a tournament.
What it should have been called was
There was no tournament.
It should have been titled Mortal Kombat Prelude to the entire series.
Yeah, it should have been called Mortal Kombat Origin, which would have.
No, there's already a Mortal Kombat Origins.
No, but they could have done that. They could have called it Mortal Kombat Origins or Mortal Kombat whatever. But there was no tournament. It was just people fighting, trying to kill each other before the tournament starts. And the second movie is supposed to be right in the tournament.
And it kind of makes no sense because in Mortal Kombat there's a rule to killing people. You have to do it in the tournament, not before. Well, technically you could do it
Well, the
before,
bad guys
but
don't have to follow their own rules. So.
Yeah.
But it was still.
Outworld can invade your planet, and you have a choice: either you submit or you go to the tournament and die.
Because if they lose the tournament, the bad guy can still just invade the whole planet and just keep the tournament going. I mean,
what? I'm trying to think. If it was
it's like it never ends.
I'm trying to think if it was one of the games that did it, or if it was something that I read on.
It was a game and in the movie
where the representatives of one planet went to the tournament, but their planet was invaded either way.
Right. That was in the games, but it was also in the original movie. But it led to a really terrible sequel. But the ending to that first movie was pretty freaking cool. It was like,
Damn it! I want to be. Oh no.
It was a game though. It was.
I don't recall which installment of the game because one of the games had it where Planet A sent warriors to go fight in the tournament, but at the same time, Outworld sent an invasion force to Planet A's representatives' homeworld, conquered it, and then Planet A lost. They come back. Oh, they're enslaved. They're like, oh.
Yeah, it was a big story. But I will say the other cool thing about Summer Game Fest was they talked about Mortal Kombat. What was the other big reveal earlier on? There was more. There was a big trailer for Final Fantasy VII. That was the ending. No. It was the release date for Spider-Man 2. That was cool. I like that. They showed Venom.
They showed Venom
That
in
was
Spider-Man
cool.
2.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2, which got a huge reveal.
Yeah, and that's so funny. I don't know 50 people that played Alan Wake. I
know about 100 something. So
I don't know 50 people that played that game. It was like a good game that was well received, but I was like, how are they making a sequel to a game that most people did not play? And it took 12 years or 12 years to get this game out. The first game came out in 2010, 2011. So, yeah, it's taken forever.
So another game that was revealed was Like a Dragon Gaiden. I don't know if it's Like a Dragon Gaiden, the main Holy Race's name, or if it's Like a Dragon Gaiden.
Well, I think the disappointing part about Summer Game Fest maybe this year was that most of the games were like mobile games or live service games or early access games.
Well, the thing with early
that was the only disappointing part.
The thing with early access games, and I know a lot of people are not going to view this in a light good. I agree with it, Wade. Early access games come with two benefits. One, you get to play it early. Two, you get to see what it's like before you actually buy it.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Those are the two pros. The con is you are now a beta taster, a beta tester.
Taster. We're tasting games.
We're tasting beta. No worries. No.
Tasting betas now.
No.
That'd be really cool.
No, that would be disgusting.
No.
It's a beta mail.
That'd be great if they let you like if you're that'd be like they give you food if you're gonna play the demo or the early access. We're mailing you food that's in the game that we made, and we're gonna give you the ingredients on how to make said food if you like it.
But guess what? We don't prepare it. You do. Taste it and tell us how you prepared your food. That's a terrible idea. No.
Yeah.
It's more beta testing in the sense that you are testing out the game before it actually comes out. That's the con. The pro is you gotta play it early. Two is you gotta play it early, understand whether it's something you're liking, if it's not your liking, if there's issues you believe that are not gonna be addressed right away. And you get to choose whether you pass over.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I want to talk about is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando.
That looked good. That came out of nowhere. I was very surprised by that. It looks a lot of fun. The first-person shooting looks really good. But I'm getting Redfall vibes because Redfall used to look awesome, and then the game came out, and it was a broken game.
No,
so
I'm gonna say
hopefully this game will be a lot better.
I'm gonna say this now, and I know many people will disagree with me.
It gave me some Redfall vibes.
I know many people are gonna disagree with me, and it's fine if you do. I really don't mind that part. I welcome it. I love when there's a
discourse.
Discussion. I love order. I'm a person of order, but discourse is a necessity for order. So you must accept that. However, because it comes off with Redfall vibes, there is a great demand, one must remain wary. Is it wary or wary?
Yeah,
You must be vigilant about this because it may be another studio that's being told, build a game like Redfall, make it live service, and they're working on it because they need the money and they know it's not gonna be a huge hit. Maybe it's not a Redfall failure. Maybe it's actually the Redfall success that was meant to be Redfall.
yeah, it looks nice.
But I will say
It was
this.
a nice surprise.
I will say this. Redfall's reveal and announcement when the graphics came out, I said, I'm gonna need to let this sit for about a year after release.
Yep.
Those graphics were more reminiscent about the 360.
If it wasn't
the original Xbox, PS2 era of games with the
Well,
polygons.
if it
and
wasn't for the insider reporting and the fact that the game got delayed, I probably would have pre-ordered the game. But luckily, it's on Game Pass, so I could see if it's really terrible or not. But yeah, that game was a big disappointment. And but the game that I'm really looking forward to, which is Lies of P, which is a Pinocchio video game. It's a video game about Pinocchio. It's a different story.
It's not that Disney fantasy of a nonsense of a garbage ass film.
You mean the live action one that came out last year?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
That
The original
film was
Pinocchio by
garbage.
Disney is amazing.
Ooh.
The original Pinocchio by Disney is great. The animated is great.
one.
Yeah, the original.
That's what when we say original, we talk about the animated.
When we're talking about
film.
Disney's
live action.
yeah, the live action was just terrible. But this Pinocchio game called Lies of P looks great. It's a Soulsborne game. And what I love about the studio, I gotta look at the name of the studio, but they're not like stealing from Bloodborne. They're paying homage to Bloodborne while making their own Bloodborne. And it's about Pinocchio. It's more mature. It's really violent. It's like the actual fairy tale of Pinocchio, which is a little bit more intense than what Disney has shown everybody.
Listen,
but I'm really looking forward to the game
I will say
because
this.
we got no Bloodborne 2 coming out. There's no Bloodborne remake. There's no Bloodborne on PC. So this is the next best thing for Bloodborne fans. If you are only playing Bloodborne, but you want something new that's like Bloodborne, Lies of P is the game that you're going to be wanting. And it's going to be on Game Pass. The demo's out right now, which I'm going to play tonight. And the demo's on PlayStation 5 as well. So,
wait, I have a question. This may sound rather. Are you stupid? However, I am busy with school, and I am currently typing up a 5-page psychology report. So my mind and memory are not on the same page.
Yeah.
Was there not a PS5 update for Bloodborne?
no.
No. Okay.
No. There's no 60 FPS update. There's no.
Hey!
There's-
For a game that's still running below 60 FPS, it's actually damn pretty
No.
good.
It's a great game, but it's old. It looks old. It looks like 2015, 30 FPS. It does need
One
an
of
update.
those guys work
It
graphics
does.
and FPS is
It
all that
does.
matters.
It really.
Play a computer, damn it.
really does need a remaster. It needs a great remaster. I think From Software would do it, but the reason why there hasn't been like a remake from Bluepoint or a remaster from Software is because Bloodborne's coding was really complex. So From Software is so busy right now that they can't really focus on Bloodborne and really put the time to remaster and focus on that complex coding.
From Software right now,
Like
is
they were
in
able to do with Dark
development
Souls.
for the expansion,
Like
on
they-
the expansion of Elden
Yeah.
Ring. So their
Like they did with Dark
manpower
Souls.
and their focus is on that expansion.
Well, they're focused on it.
And also another Dark Souls installment, from what I've heard.
Well, Miyazaki his focus right now is on the Elden Ring expansion. Half of From Software is also really focused on Armored Core 6.
Yes.
So that's coming out in August.
Mind you.
That's in
Armored
August.
Core 6 looks phenomenal.
It looks great.
Fantastic.
That
looks,
gameplay trailer was crazy.
Yes, and it looks like it is incorporating some some Dark Souls elements. For instance, the kick at the parry,
Yeah, there's
which
some.
looks pretty rather incredible.
Well, it's very much an Armored Core game. I mean, I remember.
It's an Armored Core game. It's
I
still
remember-
your
yeah.
arcade side scrollers shooting
Yeah.
type game. Well, less side scrollers.
Now the boss battles, they might have like a health bar that's like takes up the screen like a Souls game. But I mean, it's very much like an Armored Core game where you're not really leveling up your character. You're acquiring things to help make your character more powerful.
Listen,
You're putting together guns and stuff like
if
that.
you're a fan of Gundam, Armored Core is up your alley. If you've never played Armored Core, definitely jump into it.
Yeah.
If you want to jump into something that's pretty Armored Core, that's not
Yeah.
Armored Core, but it might be similar in a sense to Armored Core,
Right.
play Gundam Battlefield Mobile Operation 2.
So this is the thing with From Software. They're very much busy with Elden Ring. They're very much busy with Armored Core 6. So they don't really have the time to focus on the complexities of Bloodborne like they did with Dark Souls 1. They remastered Dark Souls 1 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One for 2018 because the coding for Dark Souls 1 is not super complex. They're able to do that.
The coding for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 is not as complex as you would think. It's not like it's not like you're looking at the screen of the Matrix.
Yeah. But specifically, Dark Souls 1 was not super complex. So they were able to get that out the way after they were done with Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3.
1,
but
2,
they got to
3. That's your coding. That's basically your coding.
Right. But Bloodborne is a little bit more complex. But right now, and also From Software is focused on this new open world Souls game called Spellbound, which sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
I too am looking forward to it. Believe it or not, I'm actually considering buying Forspoken to see how bad that game is.
I already got the game. I haven't played it. It's the dumbest. It was the dumbest pre-order ever. It's the stupidest shit.
I plan to buy it not because
I can't even give it back.
Not because I want to get a refund off of it, but because I want to play it just to see what it's like. I bought Anthem. I tested Anthem. I was not fond of it. Friends were like, you know what? Let's play it. I'll play with you. After finishing the campaign and half of the whole open world and everything, and the one quest for the Sentinels, they stopped playing. They found it repetitive. I told them, you know, this is why I told you I was gonna get it. But
okay. So the game studio that's doing Lies of P is Round 8 Studio. They're a Japanese studio, right?
It's a very good studio, actually.
Is it? They're from Japan. Is it Japan?
I know they have other games that are good.
No, I know, but are they from Japan? Like what country? I'll look it up right now. Let's see.
Round 8. Round 8 sounds more Western.
Round 8. Let me look it up. Because the director, I think, is Round 8 Studio. South Korea. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
All right.
Not Western
I thought it was
They're
Japan.
South Korean.
I thought it was Japan, but it's South Korea. South Korea has a lot of great studios. Speaking of South Korea, I was disappointed that the studio that's doing Crimson Desert did not come out with a gameplay trailer for Crimson Desert or a release date. They've been working on that game for the last 4 years.
Well, keep in mind that
I thought there was going to be a big announcement.
No. Keep in mind when it comes to the difference between the work ethics of Western developers and Eastern developers will take pride until they get the stuff just right to show.
Well, that's not what they said. They said the reason that they delayed the game indefinitely was because of the terrible launch of Cyberpunk 2077. They would have released the game in 2021, but after seeing what happened with Cyberpunk, they were like, let's take another 2 years to work on the game.
And in the terms of layman's terms,
I wish
our game was going to be just as bad as Cyberpunk, so we decided to postpone it.
I wish other studios would have done the same thing because Jedi Survivor had a crazy launch. The Last of Us Part 1 PC port was terrible. We've also had some other crazy PC launches this year too. Redfall was a disaster. I'm not expecting Starfield to look good too because here's the thing: that gameplay trailer that premiered for Starfield last summer in June, the gameplay and the gunplay looked fucking terrible. But the building mechanics and the construction mechanics and the RPG mechanics looked really, really great. But the gunplay, the shooting, I mean, the game was at 30 FPS and it's like being released for the Xbox Series X, and it looked like a game from like 2009 or 2006.
What bothers me is that when they were showing the gunplay,
2011.
What bothers me when they were showing the gunplay was that you aim the gun. So you aim a gun, and I'll put my thumb like this so you can see it. When you aim the gun, you go like this, like this. The gun and the gunplay in the trailer was more so you aim like this, and it was very harder to aim. It was not straight.
It just looked absolutely terrible.
I suppose in the spatial terms, your movements would not be accurate because your body is moving without stopping due to lack of gravity.
Yeah, maybe they needed to fix that. Maybe that will look better.
Maybe there's a slight issue
this Sunday,
with some stuff.
If they show something this Sunday, if it looks better, then I'll be more excited because I'm excited to play it to see if it's going to be a clusterfuck. But if the trailer looks really good this Sunday, I'll be excited to play it, just to look at it, just to really play it.
Alright, let me put it this way, so we can have a split personality instead of 1 is yes, 2 is yes, everyone's yes. Alright. Why are you so serious, man? Damn, it's a game. Let it come out.
It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be really hilarious.
Listen, I have to break the ice.
It's gonna be really hilarious. The bugs and glitches. I cannot wait to experience.
I cannot wait until I find the fourth dimension.
The minute it's downloaded.
The fifth dimension glitch where I go between the very game's code. And I get to do everything in the sense, just blink of an eye. Turn right.
I'm hoping to
travel through the other end of the galaxy.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like I'm hoping if I'm flying in space, it ends up turning white, and I'm like,
in the,
outside the map. Like I'm not in the map at all.
Well, technically, you're
like,
in
it's
the
like
fifth dimension. The fifth
like,
dimension is
I would be
you're
glitching
you're,
through walls.
You're an atom.
But it's not even glitching through walls. It's like I'm glitching through space. I'm glitching through planets. Like I want to see that.
Imagine what was that one episode of Star Trek where they went into the galaxy in between.
Yeah. And
Think
that was
like that.
That was also an episode of the Orville in season 2. That would be really cool.
You're in the
I would love to
galaxy in between. There's nothing. There's an enemy. There's a hostile enemy that exists only in that specific plane.
but you're in a part of the galaxy that's not 3D. It's 2D. It's like a 2D galaxy.
No. I'm talking about the part of the galaxy where you go in. It's like when you I want to say when you shred, let's say like a carrot, you have the little slivers of carrot. It's when you go in between those slivers, further in between that there's nothing.
Yeah, but that was also, but in the Orville they did it a little bit differently because it was like the Star Trek Next Generation, but the galaxy they're going into between is a 2D galaxy. It wasn't 3D. So I'm like, that'd be great. That'd be really cool if it's something like that in Starfield where I glitch through something and I'm seeing a version of the game you were never supposed to see on launch. But there was nothing.
Day one patch. Oh, day one patch. We're here to patch the fact that everybody's have to go through the galaxy in between. Don't worry.
But you know what?
Outer case. So just because I don't have a sponsor for the video, I'm gonna sponsor this here item because I guess I could do that. I don't know.
But you know what?
But I recommend if you have an iPhone, get an OtterBox case.
Yeah.
They're very good. They're very durable. You drop your phone, you don't have to worry about your screen going. That's it. If the screen's broken. No, the OtterBox case, you can drop it. It might crack the screen. You'll need to replace the plexiglass. Get a plexiglass under that plexiglass, and your phone is fine. The phone can drop. You can, if you want to throw it because you're an angry, irate individual, throw it at this man. Throw it at the computer because you can hit this man. You can do that. I don't know about the computer's safety, but I would not advise throwing any phone on the computer.
I would really want to. I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty Story Expansion DLC, but nothing was announced today. I thought CDPR would announce something, but that looks like it's not going to be the case. It looks like it will probably be this Sunday for Xbox, which would be weird because it's multi-platform. But then again, CDPR has a better working relationship with Microsoft than Sony. Because,
yes.
You know, the first console they ever released a game was the 360.
Yes. No.
For The Witcher 2.
No, was it the original Xbox?
No, 360. No, 360.
The original Witcher?
360. No, it was 360 for The Witcher 2. The first Witcher game was only on PC. It never came out on Xbox. But The Witcher 2 came out on PC in 2011, and then it was put on the Xbox 360 in 2012. And then The Witcher 3 was multi-platform, and then CDPR would usually premiere new stuff for Cyberpunk 2077 with Microsoft in 2018 and 2019. They never really premiered anything with Sony. It's always been Xbox.
See, I think that also another. Excuse me. I have a head cold and I'm congested because of allergy season, and also I had chemo not too long ago.
And the atmosphere.
And right now the atmosphere is
diabolical.
It's diabolical, mind you. If you pay attention to the advertisement of the Diablo poster in Manhattan,
that's what it looks like.
It looks very much like a hell, like hell is sending us warning.
Yeah. It looks like something straight out of Diablo. Yeah.
Now I do want to mention, I'm not trying to get religious or political. The thing with the Diablo poster and the eerie atmosphere is funny.
Yeah.
The fact that the sun is behind clouds of smoke and does not shine brightly, that is an omen. But anyways, moving on.
And Diablo 4 had a mostly good launch.
No, Diablo 4's launch has been alright. I'll say mostly alright.
It's a big win. It's a big win. I'll say this.
It's the servers.
Well, some of the servers
need to open up more servers because it's too congested. There's not enough latency.
Some of the servers are not great, but overall, the game mostly works, and it's a big win for Blizzard, and they needed a fucking win. They needed a win.
What they did with Overwatch 2? Yeah.
What happened with Overwatch 2, and Overwatch 2 is dead because the whole reason why it's called Overwatch 2 is not happening, which is PvE. No story modes, nothing.
That's not true. Campaign is not scrap. It's just the hero mission.
They're full of shit.
Campaign is going to be released the same way as it was released in Overwatch 1 in tidbits. Like the Uprising event, a tidbit of campaign. That's what campaign is going to be from now on, moving forward.
It's completely canceled.
They now have a reason to focus on the battle pass.
There's no campaign. It's not like you're playing. It's not like you're playing Halo.
Price shop.
It's stupid. They killed their own game. And Blizzard, when it comes to Overwatch, they keep disappointing that fan base over and over again. But you know the reason why is because they can't monetize it like they want to. Because ironically, it was the success of Diablo Immortal last summer that basically killed any chance for Overwatch 2, because Diablo Immortal to this day is making $2 million a day. So 365 days. That also includes the 30 million the game made in 4 weeks.
Hold on.
The first 4 weeks of release, Diablo Immortal made
was it 2 million times 365 plus 30 million?
No. It's 2 million times 365. Do time.
2 million.
No. 2 million
times. You're telling me no, but I'm doing the numbers. It's
730 million.
Plus the 30 million.
Plus the 30 million,
760
million. Yeah. Plus the 30 million would be saved. So that's a lot of money they made. That's a shit ton of money that they're not going to make on Overwatch 2. So the studio executives, the people in charge, said we're not going to do PvE because we can't monetize that, and we're basically just going to kill this fucking game. And they made the game worse than Overwatch 1.
Listen, if you want a reason to ditch Overwatch 2 for a far better balanced game, because they have new heroes coming out almost every other season. Wait, well, they added
Fortnite.
No.
Fortnite 2.
No. Well, that's not even in production. Well, technically,
Fortnite 2 is in production.
Fortnite 2.
It was a big update a year ago.
No, it's Fortnite something. Hold on.
It's called Fortnite 2. They just don't call it Fortnite 2. They just don't call it Fortnite. But the major update was Fortnite 2.
No. If you want a game that's better balanced, that holds up to what is a team-based shooter game,
Fortnite.
Paladins.
Okay, that's
the
it.
original OG team-based shooter, hero shooter.
Yeah.
That Overwatch copied because they have fuck you money with Blizzard and Activision.
Overwatch was great. I'm glad I got to play it for a couple of weeks before it became Overwatch 2. I bought the game for $10 on Amazon, and I liked what I played for about a month before they killed it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably one of the few number of people in the world that have. I own and played Overwatch 1, the original Overwatch, on PlayStation 4. That same console that I owned it for, I got the Platinum trophy on the PlayStation.
The game was a phenomenon. And really, only a studio like Activision Blizzard, which is so greedy and so money hungry, can take a massive success like that and just kill it. Because Overwatch was a phenomenon. They sold 50 million copies. 50 million copies. That game had commercials in movie theaters. It was all over the place. In 2016, it won Game of the Year. It won Game of the Year.
It won a lot of awards.
Over better games like Uncharted 4. It won Game of the Year. So it's only in a money grubby, very greedy game studio could they kill a phenomenon like Overwatch.
No, wait, you forget the reason. They needed a reason to put off on
all that money, all that fucking money.
They were so.
Diablo is the reason. Diablo is the reason. Diablo Immortal was more successful than what they were expecting. They made $2 million a day. You know, and it was a game that nobody wanted because it was originally supposed to be on a computer. No, it was supposed to be on phones. It was supposed to be mobile, and nobody wanted it. So then they changed it. They delayed it by like 2 years. Then they put it on PC and mobile, and what do you know? It's a huge success. It's just,
ladies and gentlemen,
with the greediest monetization I've ever seen. You basically have to spend $150,000.
No, more.
No.
It's about $400,000. The rarest thing.
No, the minimum is $150,000 to make your character super powerful. $150,000 is the minimum.
$150,000 for the minimum, but if you wanted
to make your character more powerful,
stuff to make your character the best, you need to spend about $400,000.
$400,000, yeah, $400,000. But to make your character super powerful, you gotta spend $150,000. If you want your character to be super OP, it's $400,000.
Now, moving on from Diablo and Overwatch 2, because Overwatch 2 is dead.
Wait. Before I wanted to say one more thing about Summer Games Fest. I love the way it ended. They talked about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That game looks incredible, and it's 2 discs, which means the game will be like 60 hours long.
All right. For those who are not unsure what Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is, Final Fantasy VII Part 2.
Yeah.
That's
Part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
Meaning Part 3 is going to have 3 discs.
Probably, yeah. The Part 3 will probably be even longer. Like this game...
80 hours.
Yeah. The first game was like 30 hours long almost. And so these next 2 discs will be 30 hours each. So that means Part 2 of Final Fantasy VII will be 60 hours long. And if if the third game is as long, this game in total will be close to 200 hours long.
Oh my god!
Meanwhile, the original game is like 40 hours long. The original game is just 40 hours.
Listen, if you want a reason to go visit the old original story without
It's still
any
up there.
changes, without them changing anything about Tifa, Aerith, and Jesse, and
Yeah, the
and
remake
crew,
is not as good as the original, but it's good. I love the turn-based combat because you're really fighting. It's like a real fight, but you're taking the time to pick your abilities while fighting. It's a different type of turn-based that was also in Final Fantasy 15, and I didn't even know it was turn-based because they were moving so fast. It was like Devil May Cry, but it's turn-based in the sense that they're giving you the option to pick your ability. And I didn't know they were doing that until someone pointed that out. I was like, that's awesome. I like that version of turn-based. It's like the original, but better because it's like a real fight. It's really cool.
I feel that Square Enix should follow the formula they're going with the remake on 7 for all Final Fantasy, for the future Final Fantasy games going forward.
No.
Final Fantasy, yes.
No.
Final Fantasy 16 looks
Well,
super
for Final
like-
Fantasy 7, but no. I do not want them to touch Final Fantasy 10. These jackasses of Square Enix, these people in charge right now would ruin that game. I do not want a Final Fantasy 10 remake by this team. I'll still play it, but I will not be looking forward to it. I do not want this team to touch
But
that
you're
game.
still gonna buy it. You're still looking forward to it. Anyways,
Yeah,
but
but I will be not looking forward to it.
I want to apologize to the disrespect that all the individuals at Square Enix.
Please don't do it. Just leave it alone.
My compadre, my companion's words here are rather heavily and offensively grotesque. Well, come on.
They would destroy it. They would ruin Final Fantasy 10.
My problem is that if they touch Final Fantasy X, they're gonna make changes to character designs because the Western audience is too sensitive. Oh my god, he has such a nice body and I don't have that.
Well, I'm worried that they'll just change certain storylines. Now, if they were to like change it in a way where you have two endings, like so they don't have to remake X2. X2 wasn't a bad game, but it was a disappointment in comparison to the first game. But X2 gave you two different endings, whether you saved Titus or not. I'm thinking if they
Don't
did
save
that,
him. Don't
if,
save
if,
him.
if they did that with Final Fantasy X remake, where they give you multiple endings and options to whether save Titus or allow him to die, that would be interesting. I wouldn't mind that.
Okay.
But if they were making any other changes, I would not like it because Final Fantasy X is a perfect masterpiece as it is. It's arguably the greatest game ever made.
I hear that they want to remake Final Fantasy IX.
Fine. I don't care about that. I care about Final Fantasy X. And Final Fantasy X is a masterpiece. And I'm...
Silence!
When it comes to that game...
Silence!
When
You
it
give
comes,
them reason to touch it!
when it comes to that game,
You give them reason to touch it!
when it
Stop!
comes to that game,
Stop! It's
when it
already
comes to that
dead.
game, I'm a purist, and I don't want any changes. Don't mess it up.
Oh, I'm a purist too, but I'm a purist when it comes to comics, to the lore, to a lot of stuff. The moment you change things like in Marvel, it's like, I don't like this at all. Automatically off the bat, even if it's good, I don't like it. You're changing stuff that made purpose.
Well, at least Marvel Disney stays faithful to the designs for the most part. Like Thor actually looks like Thor, and the villains look like the villains. Like Thanos looked like Thanos. Like he didn't look like what Fox and Marvel did with Apocalypse.
Oh god.
That was just terrible. They made him look like a fucking Power Rangers villain. Dumb as shit.
No, Marvel's fucking up right now. They're changing Kamala Khan from an inhuman to a mutant, so they can introduce.
But Kamala Khan looks like Kamala Khan.
No,
it's the same
Kamala
uniform.
Khan- Kamala Khan
I'm
looks
talking
like
about the
Kamala Khan.
costumes. I'm not talking about power.
Well, you're not talking about the whole night.
No, I'm talking about the costumes.
the personality,
The costumes.
the character,
No.
the powers.
No.
Everything else.
No, first of all, Kamala Khan still has the same personality. Changing her powers was stupid, but they got Fantastic Four back, so that's different. They made her.
No, it's not. It's not
No,
that different.
no. The reason why they made
because they erased the
again,
Inhumans from being introduced.
No, but you have to understand the context. 10 years ago, Kamala Khan was created for the movies. That's why they created her in the comic books. The Marvel and Disney did not have the rights to Fantastic Four. They did not have the rights of Mr. Fantastic. So they made Kamala Khan's abilities like Mr. Fantastic. But Bob Iger bought Fox, therefore bought Fantastic Four and X-Men. So in the last 4 years, they've scrapped the Inhuman storyline. They decided not to call Kamala Khan an Inhuman, which she originally was in a comic book. Now they're calling her a mutant, which is what they wanted to do, but because they didn't own the rights with Marvel and Disney, they decided to make this whole Inhuman storyline starting in 2013 with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the TV show, with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the comic book, Kamala Khan the comic book, and X-Men with mutants versus Inhumans and all this stuff. That was the whole reason why all this got started. But once Bob Iger bought Fox, they got rid of that whole Inhuman stuff. They changed Kamala Khan's powers for the TV show and for the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they got Mr. Fantastic. That was the whole reason. Do I like it? No, but that was the situation they all put themselves in. But what I care about is how the characters look. Do they look like the characters? And for the most part, Marvel and Disney, they get that shit right. The characters and the villains look the way they're described in the comics, what they look like. Unlike Fox that made everything look terrible, like what they did with Deadpool. They made him look like Baraka from Mortal Kombat in Wolverine Origins. That's what we used to deal with. That's what we were dealing with all the time.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is I'm hopeful in many ways that when it comes to the X-Men, if you want to do a recast, a diversity cast, do them for the right characters. Jubilee, for instance.
Yeah, I would love to see Jubilee.
Well, Nightcrawler would be more of a Spaniard than anything, but you get the idea for the correct characters. Don't change Gambit. Don't turn Gambit black just because he's got a southern accent.
They could make Gambit.
I mean, they could, but
because it's from New Orleans, that could fit.
Well, wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that? No,
they can make it mix. New Orleans has a big time black population.
It has
so
a big time black population. There is a white population there.
I would be fine with that.
I would be fine if they. I wouldn't mind if they made him more so of.
But don't change Xavier and Magneto because Magneto is Jewish, and his whole history of dealing with the Holocaust as a child informed how he views humans being terrible. So when he realizes he's a mutant, he's pro-mutant and anti-human because of what he went through in the Holocaust, being separated from his family and having his parents murdered by the Nazis. That is him being Jewish directly connects to his origin story, to his powers, his ability, and his whole mentality, as well as his frenemy relationship with Charles Xavier.
Who, by the way, are friends. They are friends. They care for each other, but they will separate that and keep the pros what they do.
So if you were to change the race of Magneto, that would completely change the whole dynamic with that character, unless you put like a nice twist to it and you say he's an Ethiopian Jewish man. That could work. That could almost actually work because he's still Jewish. He's Ethiopian. You could somehow make that work. But beyond that point, I think some characters they can change. Magneto, no, they can't really change. Charles Xavier, no.
Rogue, you can't change Rogue.
Wolverine, I'm fine with him still being white because he grew up in a rich white family in Canada in the 1800s.
He's Canadian, and on top of that, his family is white
and very rich.
They're very rich. Well, they don't really talk about that in the comics too much.
No, they have his whole origin story in the comics.
And they have his whole origin story.
And they fucking flew past it in the movie Wolverine Origins. It was so terrible. That movie should have been adapted from that comic book. Instead, they only show the first 5 minutes of that comic book, and then they just rush through the opening credits of him like going through different wars, and they're just running and shooting. It was so terrible. That movie was just awful. That is one of the worst superhero movies ever.
I don't know who was the director of that movie, and I don't want to know who even wrote it.
Gavin Hood. Gavin Hood was the director.
I would trust Gavin Newsom with the movie more than Gavin Hood.
Yeah, Gavin Hood. It wasn't entirely his fault too. Even though he's not a great director, he did one good movie, but he should have never been given big budget movies. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Because if you thought that was bad, Ender's Game was worse. Ender's Game was just trash.
It was not faithful to the books at all.
That was just terrible. Ender's Game was not faithful to
the books at all. Read the books.
And I never read the books.
Read the books.
I never read the books.
Read them.
I will, but the movie was just terrible.
No, the movie's bad. The books do way better justice.
I can see the movie suck.
Now, moving on because we're spending way too much time off topic from the Summer Game Fest.
I think we mostly talked about everything in the Summer Game Fest.
No, Prince of Persia.
Oh, that's right. We got a new Prince of Persia game. Whoa.
Prince of Persia, the Lost Crown.
And that was the first game that was mentioned. That was the first game. Finally, a new Prince of Persia game, the first Prince of Persia game in like 14 years, 15 years?
16, I want to say.
16 years?
I want to say 16.
Since 2007. Yeah, Ubisoft stopped making Prince of Persia games because they had Assassin's Creed. And,
16 right off the bat, damn.
And Prince of Persia movie that came out in 2010 flopped in the box
Oh,
office.
that movie was horrible.
Yeah, it was a terrible movie. And
No disrespect meant towards the actor, but
yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's a great actor, but that was just a terrible movie.
whoever wrote that damn shit, they should really throw it into a fucking meat grinder. They can't write for squat.
So
And
when
then
the-
the director on top.
So
of
when the
it.
movie flopped, Ubisoft canceled upcoming Prince of Persia games and hit like a big reset. And now this game is coming out, which has been worked on for like 4 or 5 years.
Last I heard.
Oh, and Ubisoft has a forward thing on Monday, so maybe they'll release something about Skull and Bones. But Skull and Bones
I'm not looking forward to
is
it.
still. I want to play it now because I want to see how bad it's gonna be. I want to see how bad that game's gonna be.
Damn, you've got money to waste. I ain't
No, I'm
spending
not.
much on that.
No, I'm not buying it when it first comes out. I'll buy it a year after for a discount.
I'm not gonna touch it because it's basically gonna be Breakpoint 3.0. Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint 3.0 without it actually making any fucking sense.
No,
You're on a boat.
you just have ships, but you can get off the ship and go shopping on different islands, and
Well,
then
you
get
can't
back on the
sell anything.
ship. No, you can buy and sell, but you can get back on the ship and kill other ships for their loot, and then you can buy and sell.
Ladies and
That's the whole
gentlemen,
game. There's no story either, and I don't even know how they can monetize this. It's like,
Cannons. You're triple repeating
what are
cannons.
you gonna
like
buy?
$20.
What are you
But
gonna
ladies
buy?
and gentlemen, I must confess this here and now. Hear me what I must say. You're playing the PC game Trade Winds on consoles.
Yeah.
Called Skull and Bones.
I mean, the game looks like what was the C game that came out on Game Pass for Microsoft? Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, that's what Skull and Bones looks like. It looks like Sea of Thieves, but better graphics. But Sea of Thieves is
If you want my opinion, and
Sea of Thieves. You have more freedom to do things. I feel like it's not so like.
if you want my opinion, have you ever played Trade Winds?
It's called Trade Winds.
Trade Winds.
What's that about?
It's a PC. I don't want to say it's a browser game, but it's a game on the computer where you manage a boat or a small fleet of boats. Depending on, I think it's the first one you're allowed to do that. You get to have a small fleet of boats, get more cannons, get loot, move from island to island, port to port, sell it, fight other boats, get their loot, blah 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 blah.
Right.
It's basically that, but you don't see it in first person. You see it from a bird's eye view of things at a distance, and the map is just that. You see stuff over the map, opens the trade winds, port, somebody opens a little port on the screen, goes back out, same thing. It doesn't really change. But Skull and Bones kind of gives me that vibe that it's just inspired heavily from trade winds.
Yeah.
And-
No.
Actually,
it was a game
it's
mode.
heavily inspired by trade winds, but because they're using the very concept from Black Flag.
Well,
they're-
Assassin's
they're-
Creed Black Flag.
they're-
Yeah, that's
they're
where they got it
combining
from.
the two.
They
But
decided to
the-
make it own separate game, but it's gone in production hell. Like it's
Listen, the best
like they don't know what they're doing with
The
it.
best thing that Ubisoft can do is to cancel it and write it
can't.
off as a tax
They
write-off.
can't. They can't do it because what countries have been made? Ubisoft.
France.
No, not France.
Montreal?
No, it's Singapore. Yeah, Ubisoft Singapore. The government in Singapore, I think, is funding the game, so they can't cancel the game because the government is funding it. Therefore, Ubisoft in Singapore has no choice but to release the game. And what they should do is just release it. Stop delaying it. It's a broken, messed up game. Like just.
You already fucked it up when you showed us what it
Yeah,
was like.
I feel like they want to make it as good as possible because they're worried that if it comes out and it's poorly received and it's badly received game,
It's still going to be poorly received.
then it's going to be so bad, it's going to fail so bad that the government of Singapore is going to lose a lot of money and then Ubisoft in Singapore will have to shut down. That's what they're worried about. And
Listen, you want to
just
fix, you wanna
do
fix
it.
the issue?
Just fuck it. Just say fuck it and
release
do
it.
it.
Just release it. Let your Singapore brand shut down because you're ineptitude.
Just suffer the consequences. Just suffer the consequences.
Guillemot, whatever his fucking name, the CEO of Ubisoft needs to retire. That guy is bad leader.
And who's going to take his place? His family, who don't know what they're doing either. That's the problem with Ubisoft. It's a family-run business. So the guy who's in charge is completely incompetent, and the rest of his family is also incompetent. And unlike him, most of them don't even know anything about games. So I can't imagine it getting better if he steps down and it goes to some.
He needs to stay.
And the family isn't going to sell Ubisoft to anybody else right now.
Well, they already sold. They already sold a large ownership stake in a large
Ownership
ownership stake.
A large owner stick. A large owner
They
stick.
sold a large stake to Tencent. So
Tencent.
Tencent owns a large ownership port of the company now. Fuck you!
It's
I
so
can't
funny.
speak. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to go get some water. I'll be right back.
That's so funny. No, but that's the thing. Okay, so Tencent would be a really good buyer. Like if Skull and Bones were to, if Ubisoft, the family that created Ubisoft and owns Ubisoft, if they were to sell Ubisoft to Tencent, that would be its only hope. That would be their only hope to sell for billions of dollars and just get out of the business, right? But I don't see them doing that. I don't see it. I don't see them doing that. Got delayed into 2023, 2024. That'd be so funny if they released this game in March of 2024. It's supposed to come out in November of 2022. It was supposed to come out a day before God of War Ragnarok. That was the original release date. Because God of War Ragnarok came out November 9th of last year. This game was supposed to come out November 8th.
Your sponsor can.
Oh no,
Mountain Dew.
we're gonna get demonetized.
I don't get monetized at all.
No, we're gonna get demonetized. But that's the funny part.
Well, I'm not sponsoring anything. It's just showing the can Mountain Dew.
But you know these businesses. But so yeah, this got delayed into 2023, but it's not coming out until 2024.
Listen, that's not coming out at all.
Yeah, Ubisoft Singapore. They're the ones
That's
in
not
charge
coming out
of
until
it.
2030. Guaranteed it. Call it now.
Uh,
But let's see.
they're gonna demand it to come out eventually.
Yeah, they're gonna do that. Well, we spoke about Spider-Man 2, Prince of Persia, Lost
That
Crown.
looks good. Prince of Persia
1.
looks good.
Oh, Fortnite Wilds reveals Transformers crossover.
That's cool. That looks cool.
That looks cool.
That looks a lot of fun.
I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about.
I don't know if I'm gonna get back into
running
Fortnite.
around in Fortnite. I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about that.
And I like the new Transformers movie. It was pretty solid. It was pretty good.
It's from the same studio that made Bumblebee, which is quite something to be excited about because that means they're gonna get it right.
Well, yeah. I mean, the sad thing is that these Transformers movies are not making a lot of money because Michael Bay burned out everybody with Transformers 4. Transformers 4 was so terrible that people
Listen.
just don't have any enthusiasm for Transformers anymore.
Michael Bay
and
killed
even
off-
though the movies are better and getting better reviews and a better response, people are not seeing them because they're burnt the fuck out. So I think after this Transformers movie, it should take maybe like a 10-year break.
No, I'd say 5. I'd say
Five 10-year break.
6 year break. Let
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
Let
Just
them
sit
work on
on
something
it.
else.
Sit on it for 10 years. Sit on it for 10 years.
Now that's the Fortnite thing. The next one that's coming out is Sonic Superstars.
That looks cool. That looks like a good remake.
So basically, it's the classic
Those are-
Sonic games in a 2D format.
Yeah, it had a lot of good nostalgia. I liked it.
I like that. I love that. I love the fact. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I should say I'll be playing it.
Sega would still be dominant right now if it wasn't for Sega Japan being so prideful. If Sega Japan did not fuck over the Sega America division in the 90s, Sega would still be a dominant force in the console wars. Because Sega Japan got really upset and jealous that North America was doing better than they were in competing with Nintendo. And so they undercut them after a while, after like 4 or 5 years, they undercut them at every turn. And then they put out Sega Saturn, which cost $350, and that basically killed any momentum they had. But Sega was a great competitor to Nintendo. And they were kicking Nintendo's ass in North America.
Yeah,
Sega North America was the best. They were the best.
Well,
That team was awesome.
I'm gonna say this in defense to Sega Japan. At that time, the pride was not just in Japan; it was everywhere. And Nintendo was also prideful, but they were, remember, their pride was that they censored a lot of violent stuff off Nintendo.
Right.
Now they're very loose about it. They're like, oh, you want to have a sex phone game, whatever?
Yeah.
Sure, just
Well-
proper rating.
There's no defense really of what Sega Japan did because they would still be making all that money if they didn't let their egos get the best of it. It's like, sorry, but Americans in North America know how to market stuff to Americans. And because of that, Sega Genesis was dominant. It was great. I mean, everybody was getting Sega Genesis over Nintendo, but then Nintendo came on N64 and Sega Saturn was trash and Sega Dreamcast was a great system and nobody was buying it. And that's I was sad to learn that 10 years later it only sold 9 million units because it was such a great system. I used to love Sega Dreamcast.
I want to talk about the next installment the next game that was revealed at the game show. Star Trek Infinite.
I'm a big time Trekker. That looks really interesting. I don't know. Star Trek games are like Star Trek Online is a fun game, but it's very outdated. I feel we need a new like open world, open universe, online Star Trek game to be appealing to the new fans that have been created through from CBS All Access to Paramount Plus, and bringing a lot of new characters and a lot of different universes and stuff and timelines. I think it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm not able to argue against it because I'm more so a Star Wars fan than a Trek fan. And it's not that I dislike Star Trek. It's just I was able to become immersed and absorbed, and I fell in love with the universe George Lucas created, that the fans expanded upon, which Disney's now destroying. But anyways, the next thing...
Not completely. Not completely. The movie side, it's fucked, but the books have been good. Have been good or great. For me, I started off more as a hardcore Star Wars fan, then I became a Trekkie. Then I got into Star Trek, and I love Star Trek more overall than Star Wars. Even though I still love Star Wars, I love Star Trek because you go to so many different planets. There's a lot of politics, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of great character development and universe building. But yeah, but go ahead. What were you saying? You were going to say something
I
else?
was gonna say, not to start a war between Star Wars and Star Trek. That's not my intent.
Okay.
I'm not too fond of what Disney's doing with Star Wars. They're mishandling it, and on top of that, they still have Kathleen Kennedy. But that's a completely separate topic for another video.
She's the only one that wants the job.
Whoa. That's a separate topic for another video. We're gonna move that away.
It's gotten to the point where
the next game that was revealed at Summer Game Fest
it's so chaotic.
was Sandland, which is a new action game
That looks
that
good.
is being developed
That looks good.
by Bandai Namco and Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, the guy that created Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is working on the game. And when I was looking at it, I was like, this looks like a Dragon Ball game. But it's not. It's a totally different...
It's a totally separate...
It's a new game. It's a new IP.
It's completely separate. It's completely different. It's not even Dragon
It looks
Ball.
really cool, but I saw...
It might be a little inspired, but it's separate.
It looks like it was inspired because I saw some Super Saiyan stuff with the main character where he jumps in the middle of a bunch of bad guys and he goes, ah! And he blows everybody away. I was like, I like this. It's cool. It's very...
What game did something similar? I forgot what game it did.
Dragon Ball.
No.
Z.
Not Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball. It was another game that did something similar where you could jump in the middle of enemies
And just blow them all away.
Yeah.
By getting super powerful.
It's like, bah! It's like, pew!
Yeah, it reminded me of Dragon Ball Z. I liked it. I liked
No,
it.
there's another game that has something
It
similar.
looks fun.
It looks fun. Would I get it? I would like to see more gameplay footage first. It's not that I doubt it, because I know Akira Toriyama. Spanish R's. Akira Toriyama is an amazing individual who creates stuff.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad he came back.
I believe he has a vision. The game's gonna be great.
Yeah, Dragon Ball as a franchise got better when he came back. When he came back to do Dragon Ball Super, Super was everything I loved about Dragon Ball Z. It's not as great as Dragon Ball Z, but it's so good. And the movie that came out last year that I saw with Gohan finally going Super Saiyan, and he's like the most powerful character again, or at least up there, you know. And that was a lot of fun. That was a fun movie.
I'm gonna say this. What I liked about Akira Toriyama's presence in Dragon Ball Super,
And they made Broly canon, and Broly is a lovable character. He's like a really cool. He's like a good guy, but he
He
can
was
kill
always
you
a
at
good
any
guy.
moment.
He was a
No.
good guy.
In the movies, the original movies, he was just a complete psychopath. In
Well-
the original non-canon movies, but in a canon movie about Broly that came out 4 or 5 years ago, they made Broly a good guy, which I thought was like such a cool twist. I was not expecting
mind you,
it.
he protected Chalai. He protected Chalai from that one member of the Frieza Force before she turned around and helped him get the collar off his neck that his father was using to pretty much like a doll, a real man.
But I was surprised that Broly, they made him a good guy. Broly, yeah. But I
Not
was,
Broly.
well, sometimes they spell it with a Y at the end. No, I've seen that in the original.
Broly.
No,
B-R-O-L-Y.
Broly.
It's not Broly because there's an L before the Y.
But I've heard people say Broly sometimes.
I don't know why.
I don't know. But anyways, back to the point. I love that they made Broly into like a good guy, into a good guy, into a good character.
Go back to school.
I'm sorry. Broly, right?
Broly.
Broly, right.
Broly.
Okay, but I love that they made him a good guy. They made him a lovable, likable character, and he is like a part of the good guys. And he got to watch Goku and Vegeta do a whole fight scene without any power-ups. And Vegeta managed to win, but they both fell down, and Broly was having tears of joy. He was having tears of joy. I'm sorry. I'm used to saying it like this. I've been saying it like this for 30 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the comments below, please let us know who's correct.
Okay.
Is it Broly or is it Broly?
I say Broly. But anyways,
Please, I must know.
anyways, Broly, he was sitting there watching them fight, and he had tears of joy at the beauty of their fighting. Right? I'm like, this is great. I love what's happened with Dragon Ball Super. They changed so many things from the original movies and made it so much better.
Well, let's keep in mind, by Toriyama's words, GT is not canon.
It's not.
It's not canon.
It was fun, but it's not canon.
It's a nice, wow, fan, okay, cool. But it's not canon.
Yeah,
None of that's happening.
It's a nice alternate universe. It's a nice alternative.
It's a nice
plausible
alternative
whatever.
universe in a dream far, far, far away in another dream.
Yeah, it's another alternative. But Dragon Ball GT was fun at times. It was fun.
It was fun at times, but it just trying to capitalize off of the Buu arc where Goku. Oh no, what was the arc where Goku turned into a kid or Goku had Super Saiyan 3? It was the Buu arc. They just tried to capitalize off of that. It really wasn't anything unique. They tried to show Pan, which they introduced Pan in Super. Well, more or less implied her introduction to Super.
Right.
No, and what movie was that where Goku learned Super Saiyan God? Well,
Dragon Ball
Beerus.
Super.
No,
No, it's Dragon Ball
against
Super.
Beerus, not Super.
No, Dragon Ball Super. He becomes Super. He
Ladies
becomes Super Saiyan God.
Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, you can tell us down in the comments.
No, it was Dragon Ball Super. He becomes Super Saiyan God. So is he and Vegeta. Yeah, I know the episodes. They're on Crunchyroll. I've watched them,
I don't use Crunchyroll.
and it's awesome.
I don't use Crunchyroll.
I mean,
I
yeah.
use High Dive.
I mean,
I use any other app.
Okay, High Dive is fun. It's fine, but there's not a lot of content on High Dive. I mean, High Dive does not have a lot of content.
Sir.
It does not.
Sir.
Crunchyroll has way more content, bro. So
if you want,
does
if you want
Funimation.
censors, if you want the censors,
There's no
sure.
censors. Not on Crunchyroll. Not on the Japanese ones. Okay, the English dubs maybe, but not on Crunchyroll.
He confessed it. He confessed it. Here. He
Crunchyroll
confessed.
does not do censors for their Japanese versions, sir. They do not do that. Not for the Japanese.
I prefer subs.
They're owned
Well,
by
the problem
Sony,
with
but the
subs-
people that run Crunchyroll and Funimation are still from Japan.
No.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll is headquartered in California.
No, it's also headquartered in Japan.
I'm gonna look into this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look into this because for some reason part of me is saying I disagree with this completely, and I'm starting to hope that animation studios are gonna get their own in-house translators for sub and dub, and they will release it on their own streaming app or their own merged Japanese animation app for anime.
Oh fuck, you're right. San Francisco, California.
Ladies and gentlemen,
But they still don't censor
Ladies
the
and gentlemen,
Japanese version.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are someone who's using Crunchyroll and has been using Crunchyroll for a long time, or if you're somebody who's used Crunchyroll before and have such animosity and hatred towards it, that you despise its guts, I don't care. Leave a comment in the comments down below about what it is you see, what it is you are noticing. If you feel there's any censorship, if there's not, let us know. We'll definitely take a look at it.
They did not censor Citrus, that's for sure. Not the Japanese. They did not.
Are
they
you
did not
talking about
censor that.
visually or verbally when it comes to
Nothing.
subtitles or audio?
Nothing. Visually, even dialogue, nothing.
I don't.
And that was an anime that got better after like 5 episodes. That anime got great after episode 5.
Citrus. Was that the one with the
Two
girls
women
having
falling in
an affair?
love. Falling in love, yeah.
Oh,
It's a lesbian relationship.
Okay, that
It's,
one. That's the Citrus. Yes.
It's
yes.
Yuri anime.
Which is the anime that I'm thinking about, where the girl tries to protect her friend, but ends up having an open threesome relationship with her and her boyfriend.
No, that's another anime.
That's another
That's not
anime.
Citrus.
Okay. The name was familiar, and it's unfortunately, like I said, I'm typing up a 5-page psychology paper, and my topic is about mental health, and I'm like, why do I give a shit?
But okay, we gotta wrap this up
No,
because
no, 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 no,
we're
no,
almost
no,
closed.
no.
This Action Burger's gonna close.
I'm ready to close, but we still have games to talk about.
Well, Blaine is
you
gonna
keep
kick us
going
out.
off on tangents on other topics.
So do you.
Anyways, the next game we're going to talk about is Power World. Power World is basically Pokemon with guns.
Yeah, that was weird. I remember the audience was just laughing so hard. I was like perplexed by what I was seeing. I was like, as a first person shooter, we're killing things with other Pokemon that are killing other Pokemon. I'm like, that was so weird. That came out of nowhere.
I don't know if I can say it's Pokemon because that itself would open up lawsuits to the studio.
It was
making
Pokemon. It was Pokemon. I recognized all the Pokemon. I recognize all the designs and characters,
Oh well,
but they're calling it something else.
Power World. I'm gonna leave that to the lawyers for Nintendo to thoroughly comb through it because Nintendo has some of
Good
the
luck.
most. Nintendo has some of the most. When I say cold-blooded, they're very. They're very protective about their franchises,
Yeah.
IPs, and anything related to their
Only
IPs.
only Disney lawyers can rival them in terms of shrewdness.
I don't even think Disney lawyers can do that because
No, Disney lawyers.
Nintendo. When it comes to Nintendo knows every which way to screw
Well,
anyone
Disney
down.
lawyers, Nintendo knows not to screw with Disney lawyers. Nintendo knows that. That's why Nintendo has never gone out of the way to take a license from Disney without doing their checks and balances. But you know,
I think
Disney lawyers, Disney
no.
lawyers are a rare breed.
No, I want to say this. I am not trying to pit lawyers against lawyers or company against company.
That would be funny though.
I would not want that because if anything, Microsoft could bury everybody.
Well,
Microsoft could bury everybody.
no, well, Microsoft doesn't have those type of lawyers. Their lawyers are good, but not as good as Disney lawyers. And they're not as good as Nintendo lawyers either. But I mean, of course they could prove their metal and get this acquisition going for it. But if not, then
Oh, this acquisition is going through no matter what.
I mean, well, that's the thing. Well,
merger. Xbox is walking away with Activision.
if the acquisition doesn't completely go through,
They have a meeting with them.
they can at least
They have a meeting with UK government right now.
they can at least I know they can at least get a good portion of what they want. They
Listen,
can't get the whole thing.
Listen, right now the CMA is being exposed as the being in bed and in cahoots with the FTC. The FTC is being investigated. What's her name? Lena, whatever.
Yeah, that could totally happen, but I think also they finally had something to argue on, which was the cloud gaming. Because Microsoft has cornered the market on cloud gaming. And in 20 years, if we're going to be playing video games by the cloud, let's face it, Microsoft is going to own that market completely. So when they objected to the acquisition based on that, back in March or April, they actually had a better case than what they had last year.
I think it was April.
Yeah, the case they had last year was bullshit. The CMA knew that. Sony's case last year was stupid. But the cloud one, they actually had more of a case because Google Stadia shut down. So when Google Stadia shut down, Microsoft now has the complete market on cloud gaming. There's no competition.
I want to play the devil's advocate here because the only way you will ever understand two sides to anything is by playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Google shut down Google Stadia from their own ineptitude and incompetence.
No, I know, but
Google makes products. Products are garbage. They shut it down.
But my point is that until January, the CMA had no argument. They had no case. But when Google Stadia finally shut down, and that led to Microsoft and Xbox being the primary controller of cloud gaming, then the CMA finally had a case. They didn't have a case last year. This year they had a case because Google shut down Google Stadia. And Sony is not getting into cloud gaming. So
well, Sony is living the high with the way that they're doing stuff. They don't want to change from that. But I want to talk about the next game before we stay on this whole Microsoft, PlayStation, Activision thing because I don't want to do that right now. That's a different video. The next game we're talking about is The Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria.
looks terrible. Looks absolutely terrible. The graphics and the visuals look terrible. They're once again focusing on characters that we love the dwarves, but you're focusing on characters that are not dwarves are great, but focusing on those characters that's away from the main story, it's not interesting, it's not fascinating. There's nothing about that pegged my interest. I just didn't care. And I feel like the Lord of the Rings franchise is worse now than it was 20 years ago. I feel like the video games are worse. The Rings of Power is fucking terrible.
Listen,
that was like the worst first season of ever.
I will say
based on the budget.
The Rings of Power itself is the root cause of all the issues right now.
And the Gollum game was awful too.
And the Gollum game,
that's the worst game of the year.
I don't know why they made that.
It's the worst game of the year.
I don't know why they made
I was watching people playing the game. I've looked at it, and it's the worst game of the year. Probably one of the worst games ever because one, the graphics and the glitches are terrible, but primarily the story is shit, and the side quests are nothing. The side quests are completely pointless. It's the most pointless side quest I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, what are you gonna do with Gollum in the side quest?
Nothing. He does nothing. He's doing fetch quests, and he can't get caught And sometimes you get caught and you're respawning in the same spot to get caught and killed. It's like, what?
Anyways, moving on from that because Lord of the Rings is a topic I want to address in another video. Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. A new action RPG from the creators of Vampire. Vampire?
That's the Amazon game, right?
Vampire?
That's Amazon.
That's
made
Amazon?
by Amazon, I think, right?
Dontnod? I don't see anything about Amazon on it. However, it's from the same developers that made Vampire. You know Vampire?
No.
Game?
Yeah. This is different from the Amazon game. The Amazon's doing a MMO game for all consoles and PC as well. That looks okay.
It's your generic bland.
But I don't trust Amazon to make a good game anyway. They never have.
All they do is follow the generic shit that's already out.
I mean, New World started off good, but then they just let it go. It's like they had those good premiere. They made lots of money. Jeff Bezos called it a success, and they stopped caring about it. And the player base just dropped over within less than a year.
Now I want to say this because this is from the studio that made Vampire. If you play Vampire, it's a vampire game.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, stealth based and stuff. This is a game that has a lot of promise, depending as to what it is exactly. Because I saw the trailer. I'm curious, but I don't want to speak on it too much because I want to do more study into what it is that they're aiming for with the game. It may be the successful sequel to Vampire. Well, not sequel, but you get the ideas. The next game was Baldur's Gate 3.
That looks good. It's not made by BioWare, so I don't know if it's going to be good. But BioWare isn't BioWare anymore.
BioWare fell apart after
Casey Hudson, all those guys left.
Yeah, after everybody left, BioWare is just
The two guys that created BioWare left in 2012 due to burnout, and BioWare hasn't been the same since. Their last good game was Dragon Age Inquisition.
Dragon Age 4 is either we're gonna stay alive or we're being thrown in the graveyard.
Yeah, and they still have bad management. They're still being overworked. People are leaving that game constantly. They've lost their creative director. They lost the game director. They've lost some writers. They've lost producers.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I mean, that game is a fucking clusterfuck. I mean, if it comes out and it's good, I'll be shocked.
Ladies and gentlemen, BioWare is confirmed to be the next Redfall studio. Well, it has been the Redfall studio for a long time. Anyway.
Well, I think BioWare, if Dragon Age 4 and their next Mass Effect game are disappointments, I think EA's just going to shut down their studio.
Yeah. So I want to mention Path of Exile 2. That's actually a very nice weighted sequel. Path of Exile is similar to that. It's similar to Diablo, but
okay.
Similar. I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm not gonna say they're the same in any way. They're similar, but because it's similar, it's a lot of fun. Now, am I gonna have high hopes for it? I'm gonna keep my expectations low because the best way to be surprised by anything is having low expectations. Who taught us that?
That's why Diablo 4 is so successful. People were expecting it to be a clusterfuck like Diablo 3.
Well, people had high expectations. They were like, yeah, it's gonna be crap.
Well, people had low expectations for Diablo 4.
No.
That's why Diablo 4 is so successful. The people were expecting that to be broken on PC completely instead of just having a couple of server issues. They were expecting it to be a poor game, but apparently Diablo 4 has a good story, good cutscenes, great gameplay, and the game mostly works on all platforms. So this has been the biggest victory that Blizzard has had since Overwatch.
Now,
7 years. In 7 years.
Exo Prime was getting a Street Fighter 6 crossover.
Yeah. That's later on this year, and that game Exo Prime. Exo Prime was coming out as well on console.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was cool.
Now, Netflix shared the trailer of their Big Curse, Witcher 3.
Good trailer. But the outfit that looked terrible in Yennefer, it still looks terrible. But with from the new angle they got it looked less terrible. But I could tell watching they're changing certain things from the book, and they're not going to be faithful to the books. And I'm going to watch it to see Henry Cavill's last performance as Geralt. He looks like he's giving 100%. And I think the show is just going to tank after season 3. I think the show is just going to tank.
I'm not going to watch it for out of respect for Henry Cavill, that he is the only reason why the series even existed.
I'm going to watch it for him. I'll watch it out of
I'm not going to watch it out of respect for him because the rest of the show, runners, crew, staff, and everybody is trash. Absolute utter
Oh, they're
trash.
terrible. Lauren Histrick is just a terrible writer and showrunner. And you know what? Knowing Netflix, they'll just give that show 5 seasons anyway and call it a day. Because what other hits do they have?
Well, that's not a hit. If it's got negative reviews, it's not a hit.
No, if it's bringing in a lot of viewers and subscribers and they're selling good money on merchandise, I mean, they'll just keep renewing it. They'll just give it a season 5 and then just end it. That's probably why they're going to renew Shadow and Bone. Come to think of it, because Shadow and Bone, they do well with merchandise sales, even though nobody watches the show. But the people who do watch it actually finish the show. So, because it's such a good show.
For a very specific deal.
Yeah, because Shadow and Bone is such a good show, you have to binge watch the whole thing.
Now, I want to mention, because we were talking about Henry Cavill, Warhammer 40K,
That's coming on
Space
console
Marine
too,
2.
right?
That is
Warhammer's
coming
on
out.
console?
Warhammer is on console. There are some console games for Warhammer.
Cool, awesome.
It's Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 is going to be available on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC sometime this winter.
Cool, I get to play
Now-
with Henry Cavill.
Yes,
Yes.
got maybe if we're all fortunate.
I would love for Henry Cavill to play Warhammer dressed up as Geralt live on Twitch. That'd be a lot of fun.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be great.
That'd be
I'd love that.
hilariously funny and awesome, and I'm more than confident he would get a boatload of views.
Yeah,
I think he would get maybe 2 Titanic worth of views.
yeah, that man is a national treasure, and I don't know why that guy gets more and more awesome every time he talks. Like when he was doing an interview a couple of months ago, he talked about how like, hey, it's Christmas, it's the holidays, let's watch Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings is at this point kind of a holiday movie trilogy. People watch it on Christmas, watch it Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and when he said that, I'm like, dude, why is this guy so fucking awesome? Like, why does this guy get more and more awesome every time he talks?
Because he's one of us.
Like, it's crazy.
One
He's
of
like,
us.
it's Christmas. Let's watch Lord of the Rings. Like, dude, this is great. This guy is awesome. Like,
Now,
the fuck?
I want to mention this, which is going to be rather odd, fun,
Yeah,
and
I
at the
know.
same time, it's also interesting. How we going, guys? Nicolas Cage
That was so funny.
is coming
Nicolas-
to Dead by Daylight.
That's Nicolas Cage.
I
Nicolas
Nicolas
Cage,
Cage.
his presentation for that shit was hysterical, too. I loved it. It was so funny.
I recommend, if you have not seen it, go take a look at it. Watch it online, you'll find it. It's funny.
That was so funny.
Now, Yes, Your Grace, which is a sequel, has been announced. Oh, Yes, Your Grace sequel. Excuse me. Yes, Your Grace, Snowfall is what it's called. A sequel to the 2020 indie game from Brave at Night and No More Robots. Alright, so this is going to be a game where many people can expect to be good. I want to mention that Witchfire is coming early to early access in September. Am I excited about it? Not really. Am I hopeful it's going to be good? Yeah. All we can do is be hopeful. Remnant 2 had received a release date. After how many times? After how long has that game been in development? The release date is supposed to be on July 25th.
Immortals of Avenue does not look great, and I don't trust EA. That game was going to be broken.
I was very hopeful.
I don't trust anything EA does.
I was very hopeful it would look good, but after looking over
After
the
hearing
trailers,
EA's name, I'm like, nope, not going to play it.
Yeah.
Not going to pre-order it. Not going to do it.
and then we get Under the Wave gets an August release date for August 29th.
That looks interesting.
Now, Honkai Star Rail, which is a game that I have on my phone, I'm playing every now and then.
That's a Japanese
No,
RPG, right?
it's a Chinese.
Chinese? Okay.
It's Chinese. It's developed by a Chinese studio called MiHoYo.
Oh, okay, cool. I heard about this game.
This is basically the successor to Genshin Impact,
Yeah.
because a lot of Genshin Impact fans are making demands, and all of those demands are being put into Honkai Star Rail.
And Black Desert Online has a new expansion. I'm surprised that Pearl Abyss didn't announce anything with Crimson Desert. I thought that was going to happen today, but it didn't happen.
Now, Lisponga, the Time Shift Warrior, which is a new hack and slash game, that was something that was shown. It looks exciting. If you're a fan of hack and slash games, this is definitely up your alley.
And another farm game, too.
Fae Farm.
We got so many farming games come out in the last 2 years. It's
To be
crazy.
honest, who doesn't like sitting back and having
It's
their
so
having the
crazy.
little character go do all the farming while they just sit there and do nothing?
It's so funny. We have so many farming games. Nintendo alone has like 50 farm games in the last 2 years.
80. What are you talking about? 80.
There's like
Nobody-
80. There's like
Nobody-
hundreds. Feels like it's hundreds of farm games that have come out on Nintendo Switch for the last 2 years.
I want to mention that Throne and Liberty gets a new trailer. That's NC Soft's MMORPG. So
Yeah.
that's another MMORPG up the alley of MMORPG.
Wait, what's it called?
Throne and Liberty. Throne and Liberty. Throne.
That's
and
not the
Liberty.
Amazon game, right?
No. That's
Okay.
no, it's not Amazon. Party Animals gets a release date.
Of course.
That is for September 20th. And if you're a fan of Xbox and you're a fan of cars and you like Forza, you like racing cars, you like maybe what is
You
it?
get an Xbox Series X version
Gran
of a
Turismo.
Porsche.
There's
Of
a
the Porsche
collaboration
version.
between Xbox
And Porsche.
Yeah. Creating to you the greatest of both worlds, the Xbox Porsche.
It looks so stupid too. I'd much rather get the Xbox Series X that's made out of a Starfield design.
What was it that was also revealed? Well, a new trailer for Season 4 of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and their online survival thing. What's it called? I forgot.
What's it called?
Warzone.
Right.
Now,
Call
the
of Duty Warzone?
Call of Duty Season 4 got a new trailer for
Oh,
Season
yeah,
4 Warzone shit. Now, I want to talk about the greatest reveal that was brought to us. It's gonna get a debut on Peacock. Well, it's not the greatest reveal, but Twisted Metal is gonna debut on Peacock on July 27th.
What's it called?
Twisted Metal.
Oh, that trailer was terrible. That clip was awful. They didn't even show cars shooting cars, which what happens in Twisted Metal. Instead, they got Anthony Mackie getting beaten up by this guy, and they're singing the thong song. Like, I don't think of the thong song when I'm thinking Twisted Metal. And this show's probably going to get canceled on Peacock anyway, because Peacock cancels everything that they make. It's the most incompetent streaming service ever, run by the biggest fucking idiots at NBC Universal. They're all morons. I would never want to work for them. Ever.
I feel my heart goes out to anyone who's working for them because
your show might get canceled if you're not bringing in ad money.
Yeah.
That's how ancient these fucking guys are. They treat the Sci-Fi Network like shit. They cancel all those shows. And Peacock, all the shows that they've announced either isn't getting made or they've all been canceled. Like the Battlestar Galactica series is not getting made.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Yeah. Okay, we got to wrap up.
We got to wrap up, but before we do, I want to mention that Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is getting a closed beta.
That's so funny. On cell phones, I just don't get it.
I don't understand the.
But it was funny. It was funny that Jeff Neely said, speaking of Final Fantasy,
and
DoorDash.
Everyone was like, "Oh." It's like, no, DoorDash.
No, DoorDash.
Sign up with DoorDash and get your chance to win a Final Fantasy 16. I was like, damn.
Oh, that was such
I'm over here drinking.
moment.
Well, not soda. I'm here at home drinking water, and as I hear, oh no, I'm like, okay. He says DoorDash. I go. Okay.
That was such a Jeff Neely moment.
That was a perfect moment.
But to be a really great Jeff Neely moment would have been better if he had Hideo Kojima show up. I wish Hideo Kojima had showed up and actually talked about No, he's working on Death Stranding 2. That's the game he's working on. But I wish they announced they talked about the Xbox horror game that's coming out.
Oh.
That's gonna be made for the Xbox Series X and S and for cloud gaming as well, for the cloud and for the Xbox. So I wish Hideo Kojima had talked about that more today because he's working on that too.
Now, I guess the final question that comes down to when the viewers watch this video and then they're thinking, oh, okay, whatever, get to the point. What are your thoughts about the showcase today? Were they better than Xbox? Were they better than PlayStation?
It was better than PlayStation. It was good. Summer Games Fest was but Summer Games Fest wasn't as good as last year. It wasn't as good as 2 years ago, but it was good. There was games that I liked that I'm looking forward to.
They had announced
They had announcements. They had surprises, and it was good. It was just most of their games felt like filler. Like they were just there to take up 2 hours. It wasn't. The beginning of the showcase was great, and the ending was great, but in the middle it was like up and down. So.
It's kind of think of it like when you get that advertisement and the greatest part of the aspect, and then the shit goes bad, and then you get back to another advertisement, and then it goes good again. It's like, what happened between all that shit? Anyways,
see you guys later. We gotta wrap up.
Before we start wrapping up, if you like this content, if you like what we're talking about, discussing, bringing to you our point of view, our thoughts, and our view of nerd talk and nerd culture, leave us a thumbs up, and subscribe.
Please do. All right.
Please do, and we'll see you next time.
All right, this is Brian J's Nerd Talk signing off with my friend Steve.
Steve's Thoughts and Nerd Talk also signing off with Brian J's Nerd Talk beside me. We hope that you've enjoyed your stay with us for a while as we talk all things Nerd Talk, games, and you hear music and audio in the background along with the Marvel Skycom.
Great.
We hope you have a good day.
All right, you have a good night, y'all. It's been a pleasure.
Have a good night and take care.